Also helps turning on my headset. Ah, there we are. Hello, Jamie. Legend, you are as well. Why am I in? That's why. Not really prepared at all. Didn't go into the party, but here we are then. Hello everyone, welcome back. I have returned for Tier 3 after a week off, as I was at the Hungarian Grand Prix last weekend. So I wasn't able to do Tier 3 on Thursday, but I am glad to be back for round 6 of the season. And it is at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. And it doesn't look like it's raining, but it is quite cloudy. Only Legends picked the medium compound. Well, I would say the harder tire allocation is the way to go, because tire wear is incredible around here, and not in a good way. Tire wear is really bad. 2-stop, most certainly the way to go, unless you have insane tire wear, then you might be able to pull the 1-stop, but in Tier 1 at least nobody did that, and everyone went for the 2-stop, but if you can, I'll be impressed. Thank you very much, Jamie. Same can be said for you as well, as always. But we start off this qualifying session, and I do really would like to take a look at the last week's results. Yeah, I wasn't there. It was the Chinese Grand Prix round 5. Blitz Hyper won that race. It was a bit of a strange race, I heard, with the two Saubers having some antics there. But Blitz Hyper, a Tier 5 driver, turned up and won the race by 0.3 of a second ahead of Arbon, still chasing that first win since season 6, I think it is, or 7. But yeah, that was the one to an Alpha Highball P3, and now he is our championship leader. Going into this race, Alpha Highball leads by 11 points, in fact, over Ivy, who made his return at Singapore, so he missed, I think, the first 1 or 2 races. But he is charging his way up through the championship standings now, sitting in 2nd place, 2 points clear of Dark Assassin, who has missed, I think, the last 2 races, but he is back as well in the Ferrari. And Lennons has dropped down to P4, and Twoosh Terry in P5, but it's incredibly close in the championship. The top 9 is within 23 points. And realistically, there's still a lot of drivers who have a shot at the title. It's close in the drivers and in the constructors as well, because Sauber and Williams are separated by 1 point at the top of the standings, and Haas is only 9 points behind. V-Carb is 16 behind, Alpine is less than 20 behind, Aston Martin as well, so it's incredibly tight in both championships. Still have a long way to go, 9 races, I think 10 including this one in this season, so could be anyone's title. But Dark Assassin, he is making his way down the back straight into turn 3, which is a hairpin. I will always claim that it is a hairpin. Some people say it's not, but to me it's a hairpin, it will always be. But now in the braking zone of turn 4, downhill he goes, and then on the exit fell out to what is turn 5, but it's barely a turn. And turn 6 and 7, very similar turns, but very tricky as well, with curbs on the inside. Balabotel, he has gone quickest, and Balabotel, his pace has been quite good, so maybe can we see a potential first win for the Aston Martin driver tonight. I would hope so for him. It would be a very good result. But Dark Assassin makes his way out of the final corner. Ivy has gone quickest with a 1.4.3, and Dark Assassin manages a 1.4.5, with the top 4 already within less than 0.2 of a second, and with probably just close behind. Season 7, yeah, it's been a long while. It's we're in season 13 right now. Time's gone by very, very quickly. I joined in season 8, the last race. This is also my 5th, 6th season. I don't even know. It's been great. But critical skills, a 1.4.8. Shark in the Mercedes. Go on then, 1.4.3. Quicker than Ivy. Might not be the Mercedes that Ivy would have thought he would be challenging tonight, because Zelix He's also been quite quick in qualifying, but for the races, not so much. He hasn't really been scoring that many points. He's not even in the top 20 in the championship. While he has got a pole position under his back, in this season. He's going quick again. Qualifying around this track, always difficult, especially with track limits. Those final 2 corners, very easy to run out just a little bit too much, and Z13 proving that perfectly there. As he ran wide out of that final corner. 1.4.2 would have been quickest, but instead that will go to Master Chief with a 1.4.2, who is also a tier 5 driver. So, I mean, the last 5 winners, let me look it up. Round 1 was won by Don Detch, who was a reserve driver. Round 2 was won by Dark Assassin, who I'm not sure if he was already a full-time driver or he became one after that race, but maybe. Round 3 was won by Test Will, a reserve driver who has been promoted. Round 4 was won by Ivy, a full-time driver, so that's good. And round 5 was won by Blitz Hyper, a tier 5 driver, and right now we have another tier 5 driver in pole position, so it seems like the tier 3 drivers are just unable to win any races. It's either a reserve driver who gets promoted the week after, or a driver of another tier. It's been pretty insane so far this season, but I'm sure we'll be able to see many more tier 3 drivers winning this season with 10 races to go. And good evening, Blitz. Welcome in the chat as well. Your last week's race winner. I would have reserved today as well, yeah. I saw you were on the wait list, but unfortunately for you, everyone turned up as Zaid goes quickest. Unfortunately, everyone turned up, so you will not be able to race, but of course you can race tomorrow on Friday. Tier 5, yeah. It's interesting to say the least. Tier 5 is quite quick compared to Tier 4 and Tier 3, as the McLaren ahead goes off track. Harry has invalidated. I think that might be... yeah, that is for Robbie. So 13 drivers have set their lap times. Like I said, it is difficult to keep it within the track limits. If you look at the gaps, well, top 7 within 0.3 of a second. It's always close around this track. It's the shortest track on the calendar, behind Monaco, but at least it's got the well, the quickest lap time, the closest to 60 seconds. Balabotan, he's on another lap in the Aston Martin. As Zaid has left the session, I'll re-invite him. Well, you get a great look at my wonderful friends list here, which goes on forever. But Balabotan through the middle sector now. Can he find even more time? No, he can't. He's lost a little bit, 600s to be precise, but he is still improving. Skinner has gone up to P4, the top 4 now within 1/10 of a second. Can Balabotan squeeze his Aston Martin in between those 4 drivers? I wonder, out of the final corner he comes, turning 10. Only 10 corners on this track, and he certainly can. The top 5 is now within 1/10 of each other, 29 thousandths of a second slower than Master Chief. Still sat there in P1. What about his teammate in your Aston Martin? Ivy has been very quick this season, and he's up by almost a quarter of a second through the second sector. As Alpha Hype Wall goes quickest with a 104.2, beats Master Chief by 600ths of a second. The margins are very fine indeed, and now Ivy, will he be able to beat that lap time? He was up by 2.5 tenths, and he does beat. Wow, what a final sector, 4 tenths up, 103.9, the first driver to go into the 103s. And I do wonder if we will be able to see anyone else pull that off, because that is a very strong lap time from Ivy. Might already be, well, potentially the pole position lap time, but still a few drivers out there yet to set a lap time. One of them is Lennon's former championship leader, down in P17, and he has invalidated once again on this lap time, so must have been through turn 1 or out of the final corner where you invalidate, and then your next lap gets invalidated as well. It's quite annoying on this track because it's so easy to invalidate out of the final corner. But what about Zelix? He is on his second lap. He invalidated himself as well on his first lap, 15.7 through sector 1. Seems to be quite decent. as Godzilla has retired from the session, and I'm not sure if he's got a qualifying ban or if he had a moment. I don't know actually. I think he retired in pit lane, so I'm not sure why the Alpine has retired, but maybe we'll find out later. He will be starting down in P20, that is for sure. As Michael, he's joined Tier 3 as well. I forgot to mention, former Tier 5 driver for Red Bull. He's now driving for Haas, unfortunately. Zelix goes second fastest with a good lap time, so it's Ivy and Zelix on the front row. But as Michael, he is out there. Former Tier 5 driver. Currently set in P11, so a good debut so far. Although I think he drove last week as well at Shanghai. Yes, he did. Finished 7th in the Mercedes. But he has taken over the full-time seat of Overdue Brad, who was dropped to reserve. And tonight he will be lined up alongside Aaron, because Tuasteri unfortunately couldn't race tonight. Critical skills up by a tenth of a second through sector 1. We've got the entire top 15 within 1 second, and that's a great little sector for Red Bull, 2.5 tenths up, which potentially could get him up to P9 if he fights a little bit more in the final sector. Oh, tries to throw his car in, but didn't really stick as the back end trying to step out there. I'm sure he's lost some time with that. He improves his time, but not really his position. Yeah, 1 position up and ahead of Dark Assassin and 1,000th of a second short to Michael's time in P11. And the other Red Bull of Ozon, he is not improving. Might be on an outlap. Red Bull, who have been struggling a little bit this season. They are 7th in the Constructors' Championship in Tier 3. They were 9th before last race. So Ozon takes an interesting way to enter the pit lane. Across the grass he goes. Master Chief on a lap, if you say so, then I'll show it. He is not improving though through sector 1 and seems to go quite wide there through turn 6. Still not improving, but it's only marginally down on his time, 0.03 of a second. But if he improves by under a tenth, then he will guarantee himself a spot on the front row. Whoa, flirting with the track limits. Once again, a little bit too much out of the final corner. What would have been a 4.3? Yeah, it wasn't going to be an improvement either, so in the end it doesn't matter. As Skinner goes second fastest with a 0.1. Splitting Ivy and Zelix. As he's on the lap again. He's rejoined. And it's a good lap as well. 2 tenths up. And looks way more settled through these final 2 corners. Keeps his wind wide lines importantly. And what will this lap time bring him? Second place. 104.0. Great lap from the Kick Sauber driver. Just over a tenth behind. Lennon still searching for his first lap time on the board. I'm on with Harry, but I haven't really seen him out on track. He's now going out in the other Kick Sauber. But those two still need to set a lap time. Lennon is trying to do that. You can really see him pushing his tires there, trying to throw his car into the corners. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. But it seems to be working, at least for now. He just needs to keep his wheels within the white lines out of the final corner, and he does. So it's gonna be a lap time for Lennons. What will it be though? Only P16. Might be on a used set of tires though. As Dark Assassin up to P7. And now we've got the top 9 within 4 tenths of a second. Next goes P18. He's the only driver out there who has the lap time and is not within 1 second of the pole position time. Just outside with a 105.1. A lot of drivers in pit lane though, preparing themselves for the final laps. Harry, he is starting his flying lap now. Let's see how he tackles this very fast track in the Austrian mountains. Up the hill through turn 3. And on the exit, DRS open, and now we will go downhill again. Sitting at turn 3, actually you have a great view over the track. I've been here in 2022, and it's definitely the best seat in the house in turn 3. Because you can see almost the entire track apart from turn 4 and the final 2 corners, but besides that you can see everything else, so that's a nice little experience. It's a great track to visit. Now 2 corners remaining on this lap. Bit of a moment as he hits the inside curve of turn 9, but seems to be clean all throughout, and his lap will be a 1:04.1. Great lap, puts him at P4. The 2 Sauers currently both on the first 2 rows on the grid, but does Harry have enough time to go for another lap? I'm not sure if he has the fuel to do a cooldown lap and then do another push lap. If he doesn't, then I think this will be it for the kick Sauber. Ivy then, he's up by a quarter of a tenth through the second sector. Trying to go into the 103.8 to crush the competition, but spins out of turn 9. The Aston Martin driver goes around and has to pull back into the pit lane, and that is it for Ivy. I don't think he has enough time to go back out there to go for another lap, so it seems like a 103.978 is gonna be the time to beat for everyone else out there, unless he can get out. Of course, it's the shortest track out there, but he's only got around 40 seconds to go, or 30, while his team has to get him back into the garage, so I'm not sure if he will be able to do another lap. Z6 then, he is invalidated, but he has the time to go for another lap. He's not pushing right now. His teammate is up by 200, a bit of a moment out of turn 3, with the back end stepping out. And he has backed off, so will not be improving on this lap as Michael is in the gravel on the way towards turn 3. And then it's the 2 McLarens, or Froby and Ozan, here in the Red Bull of course. Both need to find a good improvement. Ozan at the moment unable to do so through sector 1. Alpha High Wall starts his final flying lap. Coming out of the final quarters, Master Chief will take a look at him as well in a moment. Jesus is currently down in P12. Shark is going to start his final flying lap as well. So is Jaden. So the first one to cross the line will be Froby, but he's not improving, so he is going to start a flying lap as well. So in that case it will be, I think it will be Ozan then, the first one to complete his final lap. Coming into the final 2 corners in the Red Bull, slides his way into turn 10, currently down in P16. He improves only 1 position though, and it's going to be P15. As Balabotant manages P6. And Dark Assassin goes onto the front row but misses out by 400ths of a second. Then it's Jesus in the Williams. He goes up to P9. What about Alpha High Wall? Alpha High Wall goes quickest. 103.9 and beats Ivy, who doesn't take the flag in time to go for another lap. What about Master Chief? He stays down in P10, unable to improve either on his lap. Shark in the Mercedes stays in P12. Jaden has invalidated, he will not be improving. Froby is up next by 0.3 of a second, is improving on this lap. But at the moment it's Alpha Wall in pole position, your championship leader. Froby goes up to P12. Critical Skills has invalidated. What about Zaid? Has he found some time? Not yet, but could get a good final sector to potentially improve on this lap. He crosses the line. Oh, and he misses out by 0.03 of a second. It's oh so close. Here in qualifying, Michael will not be improving. He stays in P15. So Balabotant, he's not improving. Zedix is stationary in the middle of the track. Dark Assassin pulls into the pit lane, so that is the end then of qualifying, and just look how close it is. Alpha Hype Wall takes pole position by 300ths of a second to Zaid, 35 thousandths of a second towards Ivy, and 77 thousandths of a second towards Dark Assassin. Very, very close stuff between the top four. Skinner and Harry in P5 and P6. And Zelix well about on Jesus and Master. Yeah, indeed, the whole grid within 1 second. Closer than Bar in Season 12. I'm not sure when it's the last time that the whole grid has been within 1 second. I sure remember it happened before in Tier 3. But I have to look that back after the race. But it is incredibly close. The entire top 12 within 3.5 tenths. Must be one of the closest qualifying sessions we've ever seen. As Zelix finally crossed the line on low fuel mode to start only in P7, and I'm sure he will be disappointed with that. Because he has been on pole position before this season. But amount of track by track limits are so tricky, he could only manage P7. But Alpha Hype gets 1 point for pole position already. Our championship leader extends his advantage, but we still got a race to go, and that is where the big points are scored. Oh, it is going to be dry then. And bone dry, in fact. No rain in sight for this race at least. Which means we will be looking at an interesting strategy. Because generally you would want to go medium hard hard or medium medium hard if your tar wear is good, or any variation of those two compounds. Or could we see one or a few very brave drivers trying to go for the one stop, which is also difficult around this track. Alpha Hype Wall choosing to start on the mediums. The mediums is a tire I would be starting on as well. It's not it's just the worst tire out of the two. The hard is the better race tire around many tracks on this game. How is the weather? Well, it's perfectly fine, as you can tell in the background. Bluer skies haven't been seen before than this. So it looks to be a completely dry race for once. So it's going to be a good strategic race as well. And a race about tire management. Will Alpha Hype Wall be able to extend his championship lead after this race? Or are we going to see someone else on the top step of the podium trying to take away his championship lead? Ivy in P3, the man second in the championship. Dark Assassin in P4, the man third in the championship. Lennon's, on the other hand, down in P11, he is fourth in the championship. Then there's a bunch of drivers who are not racing tonight. All the way down to Skinner in P9 in the championship. He will starting in P5. So looks like a lot of drivers inside the top 10 are going for the mediums. And everyone else outside of the top 10 are trying to go for the harder tire. So that is going to be interesting in the first stint. because you want to stay within DRS terrain, which is very common around this track and on this game in general as well. And the undercut is very powerful as well around this track. So we could potentially see some drivers putting into the pit lane around lap 6, 7 or 8. Yes, we can start now, so feel free to ready up. Oh, I messed up the announcement. Oh well. It was going to be 26. It's totally fine. So, yeah, good luck to everyone, and let's see what this race will bring us in terms of the championship fight for both drivers and constructors. Here we go then. It's time to get ready for the Austrian Grand Prix round 6 of season 13 of Revolution, tier 3. The 5 red lights are on. Round 6 of the season, R5 wall in pole position, they're out immediately. And we are on our way, a very poor start there from Ivy. Stays stationary, drops all the way down the order. As Side already has a look up the inside, going into turn 1. Side by side with R5 Wall, who goes the long way around the outside and is able to maintain the lead of this race. With Ivy has dropped all the way down to P14. What a horrendous start there for the Aston Martin. So Zaid in P2, Dark Assassin and Skinner already fighting it out for P3. There's 3 wide in the background going into turn 3. Bit of contact, but they have seemed to made it through without any damage. Nexter has dropped behind a little bit, so has Jaden down in P20. But seems to go cleanly so far. That is the Haas very late on the brakes. That is Michael trying to go around the outside of Shark and Critical Skills. Had to take some avoiding action not to run into the back of those 2 drivers. We're still going wheel to wheel into turn 6. Shark on the inside. Critical Skills has to yield as the 2 Haas drivers now fight it out in the background, with Aaron trying to go for the move, unable to do so. But Alpha Hype Wall is in the lead of this race by 9/10 of a second. He's on the mediums, so is Zaid, Skinner, Dark Assassin, Harry, Balabot and Master Chief, the entire top 7 on the mediums. Then Jesus in P8 with a good start. Has made up a few places. He is just ahead of Zelix and Lennons, rounding out the top 10 on the mediums as well, as he has his teammate behind fighting it out with Ivy, and Frobby is forced to go off track, trying to go wheel to wheel with the Aston Martin. As Zaid and Skinner go wheel to wheel into turn 3. Skinner on the inside. Zaid has to go off track as they fight it out. And Skinner gets the position. He's up to P2. But Zaid would want to get that position back. Dark Assassin also trying to find a way past. He's going to send one up the inside into turn 4. Not quite. He's going to stay behind for now. But on the exit, is able to pull ahead of the Sauber. Good move. And Dark Assassin up at the P3. Then it's 2 Saubers in P4 and 5, Master Chief in 6th position and Balabauton in 7th. All single file through the middle sector. As Koza has dropped down to P20 and Alpha Hypo, look at the gap, he's got 1.4 seconds because of that fight between Skinner, Dark Assassin and Zaid in turns 3 and 4. Means that Alpha Hypo's already got a DRS gap towards the cars behind. Balabot and the Master Chief go wheel to wheel. Balabot sits to the inside of the Visa Ketchup RB, and he's back into 6th position. But is Master Chief going to try and get that position back? As the 2 Saubers are close to each other as well. That's a late lunge there up the inside by Master Chief, and Harry this time has to go off track the 2nd lap in a row, whereas Sauber has to take avoiding action in turn 3. As Master Chief trying to attack Balabot, and in the process attacking Harry as well. Up the inside he goes. It's a double overtake in the end. Not really you want to the way you want to overtake. He's up to P5 though. Meanwhile Dark Assassin has got back ahead of Skinner. So now he's overtaken Skinner. He's up to P2 as Jesus gets ahead of Balabot, and he's dropped down to P8 now. While Lennons and Zelix very close to each other through turn 7. Ivy is there as well, making his comeback, currently in P11. After that very poor start from him, off the line, just stayed stationary for a second or so. Not sure why. The lights did go out very quickly, so he might have been caught out by that. But either way, now finds himself outside the top 10. And And the gap at the front stays at 1.4 seconds. As another move up the inside. Oh, what the hell is that? That's Balaboten and Lennons. And someone spinning around in the background. It's Shark in the Mercedes. As Skinner gets past Alpha High Wall, but for a moment it seemed like Lennons was almost on top of the Aston Martin going into turn 3. Bit of a strange moment there between the Aston Martin and the McLaren. But Balaboten stays ahead in P8, chasing Jesus, who is the first driver on the hards. Still one big train. As we go on to lap 5, the gap has grown towards Skinner. It's almost 2 seconds between Alpha Hype Wall and Skinner, who is not really working together with a Dark Assassin. They are swapping around each lap, but they are just not gaining time at all towards Alpha Hype Wall. As Dark Assassin gets close to the back. Once again, that's a move up the inside. Jesus and Harry once again. The kick Sauber has to go off track. This time fighting it up with Jesus, and Balaboten says thank you very much. He gains 2 positions in that double overtake as they found it out ahead of him. And now behind him, Jesus and Harry. Harry drops down to P8. There was a bit of an optimistic move there by Jesus, must be said. As he slammed into the side of the Sauber. Harry is still trying to go for the counter-attack, unable to do so, stays in 8th place. But Balaboten, the lucky third, he is up to P6 again. As the other Aston Martin fight it out with Zelix and Ivy. They were expecting to fight it out for the race win. They're currently fighting it out for P10 and P11, so not the way they want this race to go, as Jaden is the first one to pick up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. Sure won't be the last one. Zelix runs slightly wide out of turn 1. Meanwhile, Jesus looking to get past Balaboten again, but he's not going to lunge up the inside this time into turn 3. Zelix also goes a bit wide on the exit. Is that going to allow Ivy to go for the move potentially? He's got the slipstream, he's got the straight line speed advantage. He pulls alongside, but is he going to go for it? Not really, having half a look. Skinner is in the gravel, although I do wonder if he really is in the gravel, because his dodgy internet sometimes could teleport him back, although he's got front wing damage as well, so I think that might actually be a legit moment there for Skinner. Not sure what happened. Was fighting it out with Dark Assassin and Zaid. Ooh, the gap is now 3.5 seconds to R5 Ball, but it seems like something is off here for Skinner. Not really going any quicker as well, down on P20, so unfortunate there, as the gap's now 3.5 seconds between R5 Ball and Zaid. P1 and P2, Dark Assassin in P3 and Master Chief in P4. Skinner into the pit lane. I do wonder if he's going to be able to continue in this race, as close stuff between Dark Assassin and Zaid. These cars are fighting it out so much right now, which is only giving the advantage to R5 Wall. This gap is almost going to be 4 seconds now, as the Ferrari does get past to kick Sauber into the braking zone, but Zaid trying to go around the outside in turn 4, but has to yield. So Dark Assassin back up at the 2nd place. Ivy has found that he got past Zelix, so he's up to P9 now because of Skinner dropping out. And Skinner, to be fair to him, he is continuing in this race, so good to see he even had that front wing damage. But he is still in this race, although down in P20 and 31 seconds behind the rest of the field, as Froby is going to pull into the pit lane. Have to be careful, have to stay within white lines, gets hit from the back there by Ozan, which almost sent around the McLaren there, but fortunately it didn't. As he pulls to the pit lane. Yeah, the pit lane rules are you have to keep all 4 tires within the white lines on pit entry. But yes, managing that as well. Shark into the pit lane as well in the Mercedes. So, like I said earlier, the undercut is very powerful. And a few drivers already putting into the pit lane quite early, as Zaid and Master Chief fight it out on the exit of turn 3. Sauber just edging ahead of the V-car. And Master Chief has to stay in P4 for now. Balaboten with a big power slide on the exit of turn 4. Mastiff trying to go the long way around the outside into turn 6. Does he have the grip to go the long way around the outside? Not quite. Has to stay behind for now, and Zaid is on the verge of dropping outside of the DRS range of Dark Assassin, and in fact he is. The gap is 1.1 seconds. Although now it's back to under a second, so I wonder if he's got DRS. Mastiff runs wide out of turn 9. Oh, and Zaid goes round almost there. And has that caused a big incident ahead? Did Mastiff clip the back of the Kick Sauber, who half spun as Harry up the inside of Mr. Master Chief? That's not going to work out, and he doesn't. As all sorts of carnage there into turn 1. Someone else has gone off. It is Ivy in the Aston Martin, who has spun around down to P17. What is going on this lap? It is seems like we're back to the previous tier 3 activities we had in the last few seasons. The two Red Bulls swapping positions. Ozan into the top 10, critical skills down to P11, who is on the medium, so he will be pitting soon, because the mediums will be at the end of their tire life. Dark Assassin in the meantime, he has got some free air now, and no one else behind him within the DRS range to hold him up. But he's also got a 3-second time penalty already, I think, yeah. As Alpine Ball stays out, so does Dark Assassin. But Lennon's into the pit lane, he goes. His teammate has pitted 2 laps earlier. And Zaid into the pit lane as well after that spin out of the final corner. Really unfortunate for the Sauber. And the same could be said there for Ivy. The man second in the championship. That was the last thing he needed. And Zelix and Harry swapping positions. Zelix up to P6, he's on the hards. His tires will be better at this stage than the medium runners. And it shows just ahead of him, Jesus in P5. Catching the top 4, or P2, 3 and 4. Because Alpine Ball's out in front by almost 5 seconds now towards Dark Assassin. And he is going to be pulling into the pit lane. Our championship leader and race leader, Alpine Ball, at the end of lap 10, is going to put on a set of hards, I would assume, as Zaid has left the session. I will re-invite him. A lot of drivers pulling into the pit lane. Can he get the slowdown? Yes, he can. Not the same as Brazil a few races ago, with like 10 different drivers picking up a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Fortunately not the case in this race. So everyone putting on a brand new set of hards. Yeah, I invite you back, Zaid, so let me know if you got the invite. Because I did just send one right now. So Dark Assassin is the only driver out there on mediums who has stayed out on lap 11. And then there's a lot of drivers behind who are on the hards since the beginning of this race. Zaid has joined back. So Alpine Ball, he is in P10. Frobby, after all of that, what an undercut he has got. He's ahead of Master Chief, and so is Lennon's actually, as Master Chief hits the back there of the McLaren. But then both of the McLarens with a big undercut. As Master Chief goes up the inside of Lennon's. We go wheel to wheel into turn 6, but Master Chief gets his elbows out. And Lennon's is forced to yield. Master Chief back ahead then of the McLaren. Dark Assassin pulls into the pit lane. And he's not the only one. A few drivers who started on the hards are into the pit lane as well at the end of lap 11. So now Zelix leads the way ahead of Jesus by 0.3 of a second. And Aaron in P3. And then it's Jaden, Nexer and Godzilla. Those are the 6 drivers who still need the pit on this stint. Dark Assassin, he's gone for another set of mediums. And he's the only one to do so as we go too wide into the braking zone of turn 3 up the inside. He goes off Master Chief, he gets that position. Lennon sends Shark and Bonnaboten close behind as well. Fighting it out, and Master Chief is going to go for the counter attack up the inside as we go into turn 4. And Master Chief is back ahead of the Ferrari drivers. Bonnaboten goes up the inside of Shark. And with a better traction, gets the position. He's got a 3-lap tire advantage. And Bonnaboten is up to P12. on track at least. Felix and Jesus both staying out for another lap. So is Aaron, but Jaden is going to pull into the pit lane from the hard. As Alpha Hypol is catching up to his teammate, Godzilla. The gap is around 1.1 seconds now. And close to being under a second, so he might be getting some DRS from his teammate, as Jesus and Zelix are fighting it out at the end of their stint. So looking to get some track positions before making their pit stop. Jesus goes up the inside, in towards turn 4. Will he get it stopped in time? He does, and has the inside line on the exit. And Jesus takes the lead of this race on track. Meanwhile, Alpha Hypol has got past his teammate, so I'm sure they just swapped around and didn't think Godzilla would fight his teammate too much. Especially knowing that Alpha Hypol is leading the championship and this race virtually, as Alpha Hypol gets past Nexter as well. Who is on those older tires. Jesus and Zelix into the pit lane. And Zelix with a 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. I talked too soon. There is someone getting a 10-second time penalty, and the bad thing is he will have to serve it at his next pit stop, so he will lose a lot of time. Though I'm not sure if it's any worse than having the 10 seconds added at the end of the race. He comes out to win P16 on the mediums behind Jesus. Lots of fighting going on. I'll try to get everything on the screen. Master Chief and Dark Assassin once again swapping positions. Master Chief this time stays ahead once again of Dark Assassin. Alpha Hypol has taken the lead of this race on track. Balaboten goes up the inside of Lennons. Better traction. And the Aston Martin is ahead of the McLaren. Zelix race is going from bad to worse. Another 3-second time penalty. As Alpha Hypol in the lead. His next opponent is Frobby in P5. And that gap is around 5 to 6 seconds. So Alpha Hypol is looking very comfortable in this race. He also has a 3-lap tire advantage. And it's another 2 seconds towards Master Chief and Dark Assassin, who keep fighting it out every single lap. Which is slowing them down as well. Dark Assassin will try to go up the inside. Balaboten potentially going for the double overtake, but thinks the better of it, as a bit of contact on the apex means Master Chief stays ahead of Dark Assassin for another lap potentially, while Balaboten sits behind, trying to get past the two of them. Jesus looking to find a way past Zaid, who is on the hards. Jesus on a fresh set of mediums. Definitely has the tire advantage. Looking to go up the inside of the penultimate corner, but that is not really a corner you want to overtake at. As the gap is 4 seconds between Alpha Hypol and Aaron, who's still staying out on these hards, going a very long way. And so is Nexter and Godzilla. Then it's Frobby, who has caught up to the back of this train and will lose even more time, having to navigate his way through these 3 cars to chase after Alpha Hypol. But the McLaren goes up the inside of Godzilla into turn 4. And he is ahead of the Alpine. Master Chief and Dark Assassin also chasing that train. Here now within DRS range. Still staying out. Aaron and Nexter. I do wonder if they are trying to go for the one stop, but they will have to do quite a bit more laps on these tires. it is gonna be very tricky. Or they might be hoping for a safety car. As Froby gets past Nexer, Mastiff and Dark Assassin once again fighting it up. They have both got past Godzilla, but Mastiff late on the brakes, too late on the brakes into turn 3. And this time Dark Assassin does get past on track. And the Ferrari is ahead of the RB. Froby gets ahead of Nexer, Lennon gets ahead of Godzilla, who starts to struggle on these very old hard tires. Harry will go the long way around the outside into turn 6. So Godzilla drops down to P10. And will be thinking about making a pit stop soon. And after all of that, Al5 now leads this race by 7.5 seconds to Froby, as Master Chief has picked up a 3-second time penalty, which is gonna affect his chances of getting a podium finish. Balaboten goes up the inside of Nexer with the tire advantage, so the Aston Martin up to P6, so that will be P5 when Aaron drops out. As Dark Assassin gets past, and Master Chief sends one up the inside as well. Late on the brakes into the side there of the Ferrari of Dark Assassin. And that's the second consecutive lap where Master Chief is too optimistic on the brakes. And this time he almost took out Dark Assassin. As they go side by side in the background 2 by 2. Lennons and Balaboten this time. Almost 3 wide into the back. Oh, Harry had to lift there. If he didn't, he would have gone straight into the gravel with Aaron and Nexer. As Jesus sends one up the inside of the Haas. It's so chaotic in the midfield. The entire train still connected here between from P3 all the way down to P19. Basically in a Ferrari sandwich of 17 cars. It's incredible. Incredibly close, but incredibly hectic as well. Jesus trying to find a way past Nexer. Although it is, I was gonna say, it's getting more overcast. It's raining. It is raining in a tier 3 race. I could have predicted that, but it's actually raining. And that is why these guys are staying out. I thought it was gonna be a dry race, but it got more overcast and now it's raining. So, well, we have got an interesting race on our hands with for the last 18 laps. Ozan has gone into the pit lane immediately for the intermediates. I think it's a little bit too early. So we have a rain race once again, as it's a sight we often see in tier 3, as over the last, well, 60 races I've commentated in tier 3 or 55, something like that. It has rained quite often, and today is no different. Alpha continues on. So he thinks that the slicks are still quicker. And so do a lot of drivers staying out. Aaron is the first one to go into the pit lane on this lap. He has been on the hard for 18 laps. Zelix, Godzilla, Jaden, Michael all into the pit lane as well to put on a set of intermediates. And is Ozan any quicker than those on the slicks? He will be ahead of all of them, I think, as Godzilla has gone to mediums. So I'm not sure if that is a mistake, or maybe he thinks that it's not going to rain hard enough to go to the intermediates. We'll keep an eye out between the gap on the gap between Ozan and Skinner. Currently it's 12 seconds, and Ozan is gaining a bit of time, but we have to remember Skinner, he's on 13 lap old hard, so these tires have seen better days. But Ozan, he is gaining more time now, another half a second gain. So are the intermediates the quicker tire already? He is struggling for grip though. Might be on the switchover point now as Nexer and Zaid into the pit lane. Harry into the pit lane as well. Double stacking for Sauber. That is going to cost Zaid a lot of time. Ozan has gained Another second there compared to Skinner. So the intermediates seem to be the quicker tire, although it's not really draining that much. But I think this might be the time you want to switch over to the intermediates. But you have to remember, you will have to take them to the end of the race. If you want to go for one stop. And 15 laps, there's a lot of laps on the intermediates. So maybe that's why some of the drivers are opting to stay out for a few more laps and make it to the end with one stop rather than two. DRS has been disabled. That is usually the sign that intermediates are quicker, and that is why Alfa Romeo pulls into the pit lane at the end of lap 21. He's got a gap of 12 seconds towards Froby, who pulls into the pit lane. Master Chief has to continue on. Well, say has to. He decides to continue on. So does Balaboten, while both RBs pulling into the pit lane. Both McLarens, I'm sorry, putting into the pit lane, Froby and Lennon's, which will cost a lot of time for Lennon's. Dark Assassin, Jesus, Shark, Ivy, Critical Skills, all into the pit lane on this lap. Yellow flags are out in the final sector. Not sure for who that was. But seems like we're all switching over to the intermediates now. Alfa Romeo, he leads by 10 seconds towards Harry, who pitted one lap earlier, and that is the undercut. Froby is onto the hards. Froby onto the hards. And that surely has been a mistake for the McLaren driver. Forgot to switch on the intermediates in time. And he will have to go into the pit lane again to put on intermediates. It sure is an interesting change of conditions. And it adds some spice to this race, if there hasn't been enough already. But that is very unlucky for Froby, who was in a podium position in this race. Would have been potentially his first podium of the season, but now will have to pull back into the pit lane and swap these hards for a set of intermediates. Master Chief still staying out, and so is Balaboten. Not sure what the strategy is for these two drivers. Alfa Romeo, not sure what happened there. As he went slow out of the final corner, Balaboten goes deep into turn 1. The Alpine goes through. And the intermediates are much quicker right now. Froby still staying out on those hards. That's an optimistic move there by Arwen on the inside of Froby, who goes off track. No grip on these tires. Alfa Romeo takes the lead of this race back from Master Chief, who is still on those slicks. But he has lost a lot of time towards Harry, who does have a 3-second time penalty. Something's gone on in the hairpin. It is Nexer and Shark who have gone around in turn 3. Did they make contact? As they're both down to P17 and 18. Harry goes up the inside of Balaboten, and the Saubers up to P3. I do wonder if some of these drivers have opted for a wet weather setup. I've got some higher wings in case it was gonna rain. Master Chief finally has to pull to the pit lane, but still continuing on these hards. I'm not sure what this strategy is for the Aston Martin driver. I mean, it's raining quite significantly right now, and he doesn't have any grip at all. So I'm not sure why he's still staying out on these hards. And Lennons goes up the inside of Jesus into turn 3, later on the brakes, earlier on throttle. Good move there by Lennons. But Jesus is looking for a counter-attack, but he is on the outside going into turn 4. Both behind Ozan, who went earliest into the pit lane onto the intermediates. And look at what it's got him. He's up to P4 with the undercut. Incredible stuff for the Red Bull driver, but Lennons tries to go up the inside into turn 6. But hasn't quite got the grip to do so. But he has got successfully past Jesus. Yeah, I'm not sure what Bothond is trying right now. Look at how much he's sliding there out of turn 6. he is still continuing on. Finally, he's going to pull into the pit lane. I do what... Where is he? I don't know what this line is. Well, what I can tell you is that is not the way you want to enter the pit lane. It's not all tires within the white line, so... yeah, that adds up to his race. It's been... from bad to worse for Balaboton, who comes out in P19. Only ahead of Godzilla, who is still on those mediums. And Frobby, who is still on those hards. I'm not sure what those two drivers are doing either on these stars. Yellow flags are out for Godzilla, who seems to have spun around out of the final corner. Front wing damage. And this is not the sight we want to see. Let's hope he doesn't... slam it into the wall there. It is an Alpine sandwich. Alpha Hypeball leads now by 8 seconds towards Harry with 11 laps to go. As the grid has seemed to settle down a little bit. Dark Assassin in P3, Lennon's now in P4 actually. Great comeback drive for him so far in this race as well. Jesus in P5, Ozan in P6 just picked up a 3-second time penalty. Ivy in 7th place, who was all the way down the order earlier on in the race after a spin out of turn 1. Great comeback so far. Aaron in P8. Jaden in P9. But he's under pressure from Critical Skills, who goes up the inside of the Ferrari driver. Critical Skills is going to get past and go up into P9 as he gets it slowed down for turn 3. Godzilla into the pit lane as well, running way too deep into turn 9. Unable to slow the car down with his front wing damage and his slicks. And Godzilla, after 26 laps of racing, we've got our first retirement. That must be a record as well. 20 drivers up until lap 26. Pretty crazy. As Ozan into the pit lane after 7 laps on these intermediates. That is very early. If the tire were that bad that he has to pit after only 7 laps on these tires. As Godzilla is stationary in the pit lane, and that is an unlucky moment for a Red Bull driver in the pit lane. Definitely not the first time we've seen that, but Ozan getting held up a little bit there. As Dark Assassin has got past Harry for P2. But Ozan, his potential undercut has been ruined a little bit because of that moment. Comes out in P17. All 19 drivers finished tier 6 this week. Well, let's say it's just tier 3 record then. Unless we're gonna get 5 more retirements in the next 5 laps, but I don't expect that. But Alpha Hypeball 9 seconds now towards Dark Assassin, who seems to be the quicker of the two between himself and Harry. Lennon's also closing that gap, and Lennon's actually he's on for a potential 2nd place because he has not got himself a 3-second time penalty yet. And Jesus in P5, of course, Jesus doesn't have a 3-second time penalty. He never has. I just can't remember the last time I've seen Jesus pick up a 3-second time penalty for because of track limits. It's just incredible how consistent he is, keeping his car within the white lines, and it's one of the reasons why he is a 2-time world champion in Tier 3. Zelix and Master Chief in P13 and P14. I'm not exactly sure what happened to Master Chief. Yeah, he stayed out too long, but he sends it up the inside of Zelix into turn 4. Yeah, that is gonna be contact. And you could have seen that coming. must be a little bit frustrated with his race. He was running in P4 and had a chance of a podium finish earlier on, and now finds himself out of the points, fighting it out for P13. As he runs wide as well out of turn 9 for good measure. And Lennons goes up the inside of Harry into turn 3. The McLaren driver gets past the kick Sauber, and he is now up into a podium position. 2.3 seconds behind Dark Assassin, who has got a 3-second time penalty. He has to stay within those 3 seconds in order to stay in second place. Jesus also trying to find a way past Harry. Maybe with the switch back. Oh, there's not space to go through that gap. And they almost both went to the wall. So Jesus tried to squeeze his Williams between the Sauber and the grass there. That could have ended in tears, but fortunately it didn't. And they're still both there on track, fighting it out. As Critical Skills gets past Aaron for P7. Jesus does send it up the inside into turn 9 to get that position, but Harry is not giving this one up yet. They're going through the wheel into turn 10, which is a sign you don't often see, but Jesus has got that position and now is up to P4. Zelix and Master Chief, their battle continues on. Master Chief has found a way past Zelix though. And now is up to P13, trying to chase any points playing position. Ivy come back indeed. P6, he had that very poor start. Started in P3, dropped down to P14 I think it was, on the opening lap. Then regained some positions, but then spun around at the exit of turn 1. Which dropped him all the way down to P17 I think it was at that stage. And now on lap 30 with 7 laps to go, finds himself in P6, which will be P5 because of Harry's penalties. So that is a great comeback indeed. And has it stopped raining? I wonder, it does look like it has stopped raining. Probably still out there in P19 on these hards. He's already been lapped by R5 Wall, but who knows, his hards might actually be the better tire in a few laps time. But 42 seconds behind Paolo Botan, for sure will not score any points. But it does look like that it's drying up again. So dry and wet, dry race in Tier 3 tonight. Do wonder if anyone is going to pull into the pit lane for a set of slicks for these final few laps. Paolo Botan sure is putting on a random set of softs for the final 6 laps. Though I'm not sure if slicks are already quicker than in the intermediates. We will find out quite soon there on the pit exit, almost into the pit wall, as he struggles for traction. I don't think it's time yet for the slicks, but we'll see. Alpha High Wall absolutely dominating this race. As probably picks up a 3-second time penalty, Skinner into the pit lane, or Ozon into the pit lane. But Alpha Ball in the lead of this race, and he's looking to win this race as well. Not sure. Has he won a race before in Tier 3? I don't quite remember if he has. I'll have to pull up my incredible spreadsheet that I made at the end of last season. No, he hasn't. He hasn't won a race yet. I don't think he has this season. So we might see a very first win for Alpha Wall in Tier 3. The man who's done the most races out of any driver in Tier 3 might win his first race tonight. That is a sight you love to see. And it's the same man who had a big crash a couple of seasons ago with Chetty at this very spot on the track. And that wall there, halfway down the straight towards turn 3. But doing good job so far in this race and looking to win this race. Zaid has retired in the pit lane. So 2 retirements it is, with 3 laps to go. I have a feeling that the slicks aren't quite as quick as Valabot expected them to be. As very much struggling for grip right now. Zelix into the pit lane as well. Another pointless race for him. Another 10-second time penalty. And another retirement. Critical skills in P5. Harry in P6 fighting it out with Ivy, who has dropped down the order, down to P7. And out of nowhere, critical skills is in P5. But he's got a 3-second time penalty, which will cost him. As that is an optimistic move there by Ivy, almost going up the inside into the penultimate corner there of Harry. But he cannot get critical skills run away too much. DRS has been enabled. So that is going to make the life of Ivy a little bit easier down this straight. Although there is a yellow flag right now, so he has to be careful to not overtake in this zone, or he will get a legal overtake. He's going to try and go around the outside, maybe perform the switch back, have the better exit, and with the help of DRS, get past. Yellow flags are out there. I'm not sure who it was, might have been a back marker. Ivy and Harry going wheel to wheel. Harry losing the back end on entry of turn 4. Runs almost into the gravel there on the exit. But Ivy gets the position. He's up to P6 again. With Harry and Aaron in P8. Aaron looking quite good as well. I think he's also a tier 5 driver. Making an impression tonight in tier 3. Scoring a very good P8 position right now. Which will become P7 because Harry has got a 9-second time penalty in this race. Seems like the thing I said a few laps ago is becoming true, because now he's got 4 retirements as Palabotan retires with just 2 laps to go. Unfortunate there, but the fight for P2 is not over yet. Even though Dark Assassin has got a penalty, Lennon and Jesus do not, and they are both within DRS range of each other. So it's the fight between Lennon and Jesus for P2 in this race. Both, I think, started outside the top 10. No, Lennon's in P11 and Jesus in P9, but both with a great comeback, and so has critical skills. And critical skills, he might actually get that P5 if he manages to build a 3-second gap towards Ivy. That would be incredible from the man who started in P16 to P5 would be drive today worthy, just saying, you know. But Alpha Wall on to the final lap of this race, looking for his first ever win in tier 3. Jesus, he is close to the back of Lennons, but is he close enough to go for the move? Dark Assassin covers the inside line. Lennons will try to go around the outside on the exit of turn 3. Will or should have the better exit, and I think he will be able to get past because he has DRS. Even though he has the outside line, he is able to pull ahead of the Ferrari, and Jesus is going to send one up the inside as well into turn 4, but runs slightly deep, and Dark Assassin tries to go for the switchback, but doesn't have the better traction, and Jesus stays ahead in P3, but I don't think he has the chance of getting past Lennons, as Ozan retires for good measure for absolutely no reason at all on the final lap. But Alpha Hype Wall comes out of the final corner, and he will see the checkered flag first for the first time in tier 3 history. Alpha Hype Wall wins the race here in tier 3. He wins the Austrian Grand Prix And what a way to do so. Total domination from start to finish. Has walked away from everyone on the opening lap and did not look back. Lennon's in second place, Jesus in P3, Dark Assassin in P4, Ivy in the end does get P5 ahead of Critical Skills in P6, Aaron in P7. Great debut for him as well in Tier 3, Harry in P8, Nexer in P9, and his teammate Master Chief in P10. Michael in P11, and it's Shark in P12, the final driver to score points in this race. But Alpha Hype Wall can finally call himself a race winner in Tier 3. It has been, I think, 40 races since he first started, because it was 30-40 in the last season. And I think he has driven every single race so far this season. So it took him 40 races to win a race, but he has finally done it. And he absolutely deserved this one. Alpha Hype Wall is your race winner and certainly will extend his lead in the championship. And what a great race that was. Started in the dry, then it became wet and it got dry again. Ivy picks up a point for the fastest lap. So I have to get my race results in very quickly. But Shark in P12, then it's Jaden, Skinner and Frobby, the last of the finishers. But Alpha Hypo with a dominant performance here in Austria. He will extend his championship lead after picking up 26 points tonight. And his rivals Ivy, Dark Assassin and Lennon's all behind him. What a race that was, and what a story for Alpha Hype Wall, picking up his first win here in Revolution. But that's it for the racing for tonight. Next week we shall return for round 7 of the season, and then it will be the Canadian Grand Prix at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. A very tight and twisty straight circuit. So tune in for that one next week. I will be back as well. But for now, I want to thank you all for tuning into the stream. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. And I will see you guys very soon again next week for round 7 of the season. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you guys next time. Goodbye.